Hello ladies, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be continuing our series all about old money and those who have old money values. And we are covering the book, The Old Money Book, How to Live Better While Spending Less, Secrets of America's Upper Class. So in today's video, we are talking all about financial independence because you can't be old money without money, can you? So this is really what I wanted to focus in on this month. And so I do think that there is a massive discrepancy between what people think old money is and what old money really is. Yes, they have money, but it's not like they're splashing out cash left, right, and center and acting in actually quite nouveau riche ways. So old money, you understand that saying, and then nouveau riche, new rich, you'll often find their behaviors are quite different. But I often think that people look at the nouveau riche and think that that's how old money acts, and it is not true. Often you won't even realize that people are old money unless there's someone like, that is a household name. But often you won't realize that certain people are old money until it's like spelt out for you. The thing is that old money realizes that material possessions can actually be quite cumbersome. The thing is, old money lives well, but they don't flaunt it. Financial independence often requires hard work to acquire it and diligence to preserve it. That's why old money lives efficiently and quietly. Money not spent is money that can be saved and invested. More importantly, old money knows that buying things and spending money does not make one happy for an extended period of time. Old money is fortunate and it knows it. It doesn't squander, but it's not cheap, especially with family and friends. Old money is an investor, not a consumer. Now, old money, think about this saying, old money, think about the words old money. Old money technically means that money has been in the family for more than 3 generations. And usually they have some type of investment, some type of business, and usually the generation that is now considered old money is living off of some type of dividend from those investments or from that business. So maybe they're living off the interest or the dividends from a monthly basis or it's a quarterly basis. I don't think it's anything more than a quarterly basis. But because of that, because they're living off that interest or that dividends, they do have to budget. So sometimes I think we think, oh, this person is rich and they can just go to the bank and take out all the money that they want. But that's typically not the case. They typically do have a budget that they are living from. And yes, they have a business that is pulling in these dividends and they might not need to go out and work at that business, but they are still living off of some kind of budget. Even old money, rich people are doing this. So if old money people are able to live off of a budget, why can't we? We both have budgets. And as old money is often living off of a fixed income, in our day-to-day lives, we typically are living off of a fixed income. So we should be able to see that, and I believe I covered this in the trailer of this series, is that it doesn't matter how much money you are bringing in, you're still able to apply the principles that are talked about in this book. Essentially, old money are experts at living within their means. One of the YouTube channels I've been loving lately is a channel called American Viscountess. And one of the videos that I watched recently, the host of the show, she mentioned that she did not know that her husband was a Viscount until they went to go on a trip together. So I think they were quite far on in their relationship. And he went to go pay for something, and on his card it said Viscount and then his name. I think his name is Luke. And so that's when she found out that he was old money. And another thing that I'm really noticing with her channel is that, okay, they are aristocrats, but they have a lot of duty to the property that they have and their involvement in the community. And so with that, I don't think she needed a YouTube channel, but the YouTube channel helps further the brand awareness of their business. And she also has a Patreon. And it's interesting because I used to look at Patreon and was like, oh, people are kind of like begging for money. You get paid from YouTube. but her Patreon goes towards the upkeep of their estate. And I just think that it's so easy. I would have looked at her a few years ago and been like, she has all the money in the world. What does she need a Patreon for? What does she need a YouTube channel for? I would have probably looked at her YouTube channel as just a way to get fame. But old money are people that are working hard and they're looking for opportunity and they live within their means. And that was another thing I noticed on her channel. I'm like her fangirl, but she was talking about an Airbnb that they found in Greece, and she was talking about how affordable it was. And she was talking about how they brought in a home chef because it was more affordable than going out to eat for dinner every night in Greece. And again, you look at somebody with this massive stately home, you think you sure have some money that you could splash out on a holiday. But that's not how old money acts. That's not how old money thinks. They live within their means. You can't be old money without money. Saying that money does not buy happiness is missing the point. The truth is, you have more options when you have money. And when you need money, there's rarely a substitute for it. The next thing that I have learned from this book, and I've observed in people around me that are old money, is that old money values high value items. That was a hard thing to say. They value it so much that they seek it out. And so I think that's where maybe the common misconception comes in, that old money has all this money that they can maybe dish out for a higher price point item. But it's not that they are looking to just spend the most money. They're looking for what is going to give them the most value. The next thing that I'm really observing from old money, and have learned about it in this book, is that old money spends slowly. And think about it. There are people that I observe and they're in such a rush to get things done that they then have to go back and do things again because they didn't do it properly the first time. Or maybe they didn't know themselves enough the first time and they rushed into things and then they figured out, oh my gosh, I didn't know myself at all. Old money spends slowly because they're not in a rush for anything. The next thing that you'll observe about old money is that they shop for quality. Equally, old money doesn't shop to fix emotional issues, or old money doesn't shop to soothe psychological problems. Have you ever heard people say like, oh, I was in a bad mood, or I had a breakup and I just went shopping? And it's like, that's not a trait that is to be admired, and it's definitely not the trait that got old money to be old money. The ability to gain and retain your financial independence amidst the onslaught of advertising, marketing, and promotion that is the modern world of commerce can be challenging. An infinite number of sources, television, magazines, the internet, they promise a better life if only we will buy what they are selling. It can be difficult to resist. In order to live within your means, you're going to have to understand what you like. I spoke about this in a previous video, but we must know ourselves. I'm really noticing that once I understood what I liked, I was able to pick out things for the home from charity shops, from thrift shops, from places that I was able to wait for when there was a sale. And that was such a way that I could spend my money a lot more wisely, but it was in a slower manner. This is also why you might notice that old money, or those who have old money values, they're not trendy. And with saying that, you must have a strong sense of self if you're looking to do this without being so self-absorbed that you're selfish. You must take stock of how much money you actually have and what your outgoings and your responsibilities are. And you must have clear financial goals. I mentioned this content creator in a previous video, but there's a girl called Emma and her handle is Emma's Edition. She's always talking about her goal setting and her financial goals for quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. And she breaks that down. And ever since observing her online, it's made me start to ask myself these things. She also has a course, and I will take it at some point, but I'm first still getting myself to even kind of realize, what do I want? I haven't announced this anywhere, and if you've made it this far into the video, I just deleted almost all of my Instagram followers. When I first moved to the UK, had over 53,000 Instagram followers, and then during the pandemic, I started to really figure out who I was, what I liked, and I whittled that down to 21,000, I think it was. And then over the last 2 years in the pandemic, that got down to 19,000. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna bite the bullet and I am going to delete almost everybody. And so I deleted manually. I've documented the whole process, but I left 1,868 followers because I was like, you know what? I know what serves me. I know what I want to talk about. I know what I want to run my business like. And so now I feel like I'm starting a business from scratch again. And so even though I think it's important to have financial goals and targets even from the get-go, I'm still in the process of like laying that foundation down. But at some point I will take her course. And I think it's so important, and I do think it's such an old money habit and trait, that old money understands what they're actually working with and have financial goals. Now, one of the biggest challenges that I'm finding in this day and age is that people are living lifestyles that are related to the accumulation of material possessions. And again, I think if you knew yourself, you knew your style, etc., you would see what fits into your life and be able to pick it up in an according time and manner. Once you've made the effort to get off the consumer merry-go-round and focus on doing and being instead of spending and having, you will have a very strange epiphany. The constant passing parade of advertised products, services, sales, and alleged bargains will look strangely foreign. You'll be fine without them. You will know that no single product is going to change your life or make you more popular or make you more productive or a better person. You will be amused at those who boast about their new store-bought items and feel a little sad for them as they invest so much of their self-esteem into the material things. You will plan purchases, perhaps spending more for quality, but overall buying less often. You will spend much less time shopping as you will go to a store to buy something you want or need and leave. Shopping will be less of a social activity and more of a strategy. Getting the highest quality product for your money in the least amount of time so you can get back to doing what you love. You will have more time and more money. You will wonder what you used to do that kept you so busy and perhaps so broke. You will be free. So let's talk very quickly about children and money. These are skills and habits that we need to instill in children from young. I wasn't someone that had a weekly allowance, but maybe I would have thrived a little bit better with money if I did. I think when you give children a weekly allowance, and at least by referencing this book, they say if you give a child a weekly allowance, you're allowing them to start to learn how to manage money. If they spend it all at once, they have to deal with the consequences of spending it all at once and then maybe seeing something the next day and not being able to afford it. This is going to give your children skills that will set them up for their adult life. Another habit of old money is that they encourage their youngsters to earn. Now, we're not talking about going into a sweatshop, but you can really champion children to harness their entrepreneurial spirit and learn how to earn. This also then leads you to an experience of where you're able to teach them how to shop wisely. And then since we're on this topic, we're also able to show children not to boast about what they have and how topics of finances really should be off limits outside of the household. Old money has prepared the next generation for handling wealth and privilege through example and education. It has also prepared for an orderly transition of the accumulated assets when one generation dies and the next inherits. This limits the possibility of emotion overtaking logic during grief. Even intelligent and well-intentioned people can do destructive, vindictive, and simply stupid things when they're upset over the loss of a loved one. Therefore, no matter how young or how healthy, old money has a will prepared, signed, and notarized. You should too. So do you have a will? I don't. It's something that my husband and I have recently been talking about. Do you have life insurance? I don't. It's something that my husband and I have recently been talking about. Do you have a funeral plan? It sounds morbid, but these aren't things that you are going to want to leave for your children to take care of or your spouse. So that is my challenge for you today. Let me know if you're enjoying this series. I've enjoyed discussing all the things that I've learned with you in this book. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.